It's a strange courage you give me, ancient star. Shine alone in the sunrise, towards which you lend no part. We sit and talk quietly with long lapses of silence, and I am aware of the stream that has no language coursing beneath the quiet heaven of your eyes, which has no speech. I have eaten the plums that were in the icebox, and which you were probably saving for breakfast. Forgive me, they are delicious, so sweet and so cold. It is difficult to get the news from poems, yet men die miserably each day for lack of what is found there. You lethargic, waiting upon me, waiting for the fire, and I attend it upon you, shaken by your beauty, just shaken. If they give you lined paper, write the other way. Hold back the edges of your gown, ladies. We are going through hell underneath the infinite wrap or spell. Time is a storm in which we are all lost. Your thighs are apple trees, your knees are a southern breeze. It is at the edge of the petal that love awaits. In summer the lawn, the song sings itself. Poets are damned, but they are not blind. They see with the eyes of angels. Dissonance, if you are at least a discovery. As the rain falls, so does your love bathe every open object of the world. I think all spitting is a disease. You can't stop it. But the sea which no one tends is also a garden. At our age, the imagination across the sorry facts lifts us to make roses stand before thorns. Sure, love is cruel and selfish and totally obtuse, at least blinded by the light. Young love is, but we are older. I to love and you to be loved. We have, no matter how, by our will survive to keep the jeweled prize always at our fingertips. We will it so, and so it is, past all accident. If it ain't a pleasure, it ain't a poem. A spit and I know 'em. That which is possible is inevitable. It is almost impossible to state what one in fact believes, because it is almost impossible to hold a belief and to define it at the same time. Beauty is related to not to loveliness, but to a state in which reality plays a part. So much depends upon a red wheelbarrow glazed with rainwater beside the white chickens. My surface is myself under which to witness youth is buried. Roots. Everybody has roots. A poem is this nuance of sound delicately operating upon a contract of sense, the particulars of a song or walking upon a bed of sound. Deny yourself all half things. Have it or leave it, but it will keep, or it is not worth having. Never start anything you can't finish. However, do not lose faith because you are starved. She loves you, she says, believe it tomorrow. But today the particulars of poetry, that the difficult art, require the whole attention. A spit and writing is not a searching about and a daily experience for apt similes and pretty things, thoughts, and images. It is not a conscious recording of the day's experiences freshly and with the appearance of reality. The writer of imagination will find himself released from observing things for the purpose of spitting them down later, writing them down later, rapper forever, poetry rapper forever. He would be there to enjoy it, to taste, to engage the free world, and not a world which he carries like a bag of food, always fearful lest he drop something or someone get more than he. All women are not Helen, I know that, but have Helen in their hearts. I would say poetry is language charged with emotion, its words rhythmically organized. A poem is a complete little universe. It exists separately. Any poem that has any worth expresses the whole life of the poet. It gives a view of what poet is. The poet is rabbit as tis about twixt as is. The descent beckons as the accent, as the ascent beckoned. I think these days ways when there is so little to believe in, when the old loyalties, God, country, and the hope of heaven aren't very real. We are more dependent than we should be on our friends. The only thing left to believe in, someone who seems beautiful, pitiful, as birds' wings beat the solid air, without which none could fly, so words freed by the imagination affirm reality by their flight. A new music is a new mind, rhyme after rhyme. The only realism in art is of the imagination. The beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Imagination cannot wipe out the sting of remorse, can instruct the mind in its proper uses. It is not fair to be old, to put on a brown sweater, wrapper forever, the past above, the future below, and the present pouring down the roar of the present. A speech is of necessity my whole concern, for the beginning is assuredly the end, since we know nothing pure and simple beyond our own complexities. What power has love but forgiveness? In other words, by its intervention, what has been done can be undone. What good is it otherwise? When my wife is sleeping and the baby and Kathleen are sleeping and the sun is aflame, a white disk and silken mists are above shining trees. If I, in my north room, dance naked grotesquely before my mirror, waving my shirt round my head and singing softly to myself, I am lonely, I am lonely, I was born to be lonely, I am best so. If I admire my arms, my face, my shoulders, flanks, buttocks against a yellow drawn shades, who shall say I am not the happy genius of my household? It was a love engendering a gentleness and goodness that moved me and that I saw in you. He was always on the point of going away, where it didn't seem to matter, rapper forever, but time and only another liar. So go along the wall a little bit further. If blackberries prove bitter, a rapper forever, there'll be mushrooms, fairy ring, mushrooms in the grass, sweetest of all fungi. Remorse is a virtue, and that it is a stir up of the emotions, but it is a folly. To accept it is a criticism of conduct. And yet one arrives somehow, finds himself loosening the hooks of her dress in a strange bedroom, feels the autumn dropping its silken linen leaves about her ankles, the tawdry veined body emerges, twisted upon itself like a winter wind outside. The north wind coming and passing, swelling and dying, lifts the frozen sand, drives it a rattle against a lidless windows, and we made dear sit stroking the cat and smiling deeply. Purr. It is dangerous to leave written that which is badly written. A chance word upon paper may destroy the world. Watch carefully and erase while the power is still yours. I say to myself, for all that is put down, once it escapes, may rot its way into 1,000 minds, the corn become black smut, and all libraries of necessity be burned to the ground as a consequence. Only one answer, write carelessly, so that nothing that is not green will survive, rhyme after rhyme. It's just a moment, we die every night. Say it, no ideas, but in things. There were some dirty plates and a glass of milk beside her on a small table near the rank, disheveled bed, wrinkled and nearly blind. She lay and snored, arousing with anger in her tones to cry for food. Give me something to eat. They're starving me. I'm all right. I won't go to the hospital. No. Give me something to eat. Let me take you to the hospital, I said. And after you are well, you can do as you please. She smiled. Yes. You do what you please first. then I can do what I please. Oh, she cried as the ambulance men lifted her to a stretcher. Is this what you call making me comfortable? By now, her mind was clear. Oh, you think you're smart, you young people, she said, but I'll tell you something, you don't know anything. Then we started on the way. We passed a long row of elms. She looked at them a while out of the ambulance window and said, what are all those fuzzy-looking things out there? Trees. Well, I'm tired of them, and rolled her head away. There's something sacred about literature. It is damned from one end to the other. There's nothing in literature but change, and change is mockery. I'll spit whatever I damn please, whenever I damn please, and as I damn please, and it'll be good if the authentic spirit of change is on it. So most of my life has been lived in hell underneath the infinite wrapper spell. I love this young green willow shimmering at the bare wood's edge. The better work men do is always done under stress and at great personal cost. Death will be late to bring us aid. The business of love is cruelty, which by our wills will transform to live together. A house is sometimes wine, it is sometimes more than a skin, but the scent beckons as the scent beckoned. A memory is a kind of accomplishment, a sort of renewal, even an initiation, since the space it opens are new places inhabited by hordes heretofore unrealized of new kinds, since their movements are toward new objects, even though formerly they are abandoned. No defeat is made up entirely of defeat, since the world it opens is always a place formerly unsuspected, a world lost, a world unsuspected, beckons to new places, and no whiteness lost is so white as the memory of whiteness. With evening, love wakens, though its shadows, which are alive by reason of the sunshine, and grow sleepy now and drop away from desire. Fire. Love without shadow stirs now, beginning to awaken, and night advances, but descent made up of despairs, and without accomplishment realizes a new awakening, which is a reversal of despair. For what we cannot accomplish, what is denied to love, what we have lost in the anticipation, a descent follows, endless and indestructible. Do we not see that we are inarticulate? That is what defeats us, is our inability to communicate to another how we are locked within ourselves, unable to say the simplest thing of importance to one another. Any of us, even the most valuable, that makes our lives like those of a litter of kittens in a woodpile. There is no thing that, with a twist of the imagination, cannot be something else. Porpoises risen in a green sea, the wind of nightfall, at nightfall bending the rose-red grasses, and you and your apron hurrying to catch, say it seems to you to be your son. How ridiculous. You will pass up into a cloud and look back at me, not count the scribbling foolish that put wings at your heels, at your knees. You remember I had a strong inclination all my life to be a rapper. Under different circumstances, I would rather have been a painter than to bother with these good goddamn words. I never actually thought of myself as a poet, but I knew I had to be an artist in some way. To hell with everything I myself have ever spitten. The noiseless wheels of my car rush with a crackling sound over dried leaves as I bow and pass smiling, sacks of rage, and my flower that splits the rocks of a tree lay down on the garage roof and stretched. You have your head then is said go to it. If there is a progress, then there is a novel. Their story, yours, mine, is what we all carry with us on this trip. we take in, we owe it to each other to respect our stories and learn from them. I have had my dream like others, and it has come to nothing, so that I remain now carelessly with feet planted on the ground and look up at the sky, feeling my clothes about me, the weight of my body and my shoes, the rim of my hat, air passed in and out at my nose, and decide to dream no more. Shoes twisted into incredible lilies. We laughed at the hollyhocks together, and then I sprayed them with lye. Forgive me, I simply do not know what I am doing. Your thighs are apple trees, your knees are the southern breeze. You're a romanticist. What do you think? A man is a papaya to digest, a dinner in pill form. A man is indeed a city, and for the poet there are no ideas but in things. Rot dead, marigolds, an acre at a time. Gold are you. In description, words adhere to certain objects and have the effect on the sense of oysters or barnacles. Lifeless in appearance, sluggish days, spring approaches. They enter the new world, naked, cold, uncertain of all, save that they enter all about them the cold, familiar wind. Now the grass, tomorrow the stiff curl of a wild carrot leaf. One by one, objects are defined. It quickens clarity, outline of leaf, but now the stark dignity of embrace, entrance still. The profound change has come upon them. Rooted they grip down and begin to awaken. The pure products of America go crazy. No one to witness and adjust. No one to drive the car. Those who belong properly to books and to whom books perhaps do not quite so properly belong. Let the snake away under his weed, and the spit and be of words, slow and quick, sharp, to strike quiet, to wait sleepless, through a metaphor to reconcile the people and the stones compose. No ideas but in things invent. Sacks of rage is my flower that splits the rocks. So different this man and this woman, a stream of flowing in the field. If you can bring nothing to this place but your carcass, keep out. We are blind and live our blind lives out in blindness. Poets are damned, but they are not blind. They see with the eyes of the angels. My heart rouses and thinking to bring you news of something that concerns you and concerns many men. Look at what passes for the new. You will not find it there, but in despised poems. It is difficult to get the news from poems, and yet men die miserably every day for lack of what is found there. I prefer not to starve, to live by the practice of medicine, which combines the best features of both science and philosophy, which that imponderable and enlightenment element disease, unknown in its normality to either, but like Pasteur when he was young, or anyone else who has something to do. I wish I had more money for my literary experiments. Beautiful thing, my dove, enabling all who are windblown, touched by the fire, and unable a roar that soundless drowns the sense with its reiteration, unwilling to lie in its bed and sleep in its dark bed. Summer it is, summer, and still the roar of and his mind is unabated. Everyone in this life is defeated, but a man, if he be a man, is not defeated. Why should I go further than I am able? Is it not enough for you that I am perfect? And this moral, as with the deformed, a seal. Morals are the memory of success that no longer succeeds. The faucet of June that rings the triangle of the air. No defeat is made up entirely of defeat. Since the world it opens is always a place formerly unsuspected, a world lost, a world unsuspected beckons to new places and new whiteness. No whiteness lost is so white as the memory of whiteness. And this moral, as with the deformed, Aesop morals are the memory of success that no longer succeeds. The poet thinks with his poem. Yet there is no return, rolling up out of chaos. A 9 months wonder of a city, a man, an identity. It can't be otherwise. An interpenetration of both ways, rolling up. A verse, reverse, the drunk, the sober, the illustrations of the gross, one, and ignorance, a certain knowledge, and knowledge undispersed, and its own undoing. I had sent a batch of poems, which they turned down flat. I was furious, floss. My wife said if I were the editor of that magazine, I would turn down what you sent. So she picked a batch and they accepted them all. The faucet of June that rings the triangle of the air. After some years of varied experience with the bodies of the rich and the poor, a man finds little to distinguish between them bulks, them as one, and bases his work and judgment on other matters. Nothing else matters. Don't never say never. I'm a forever poetic rapper. No defeat is made up of entirely of defeat, since the world it opens is always a place formerly unsuspected, a world lost, a world unsuspected beckons to new places, and no whiteness lost is so white as the memory of whiteness. If anything of the moment results, so much the better and so much the more likely will it be that no one will want to see it. Love without shadows astir now, the beginning to awaken at night advances the descent, made up of despairs and without accomplishment realizes a new awakening, which is a reversal of despair for what we cannot accomplish, what is denied to love, what we have lost in the anticipation of descent follows endless and indestructible. Listen to pouring water. The dogs and trees conspire to invent a world gone. According to my present theme, the spitter of imagination would attain closest to the conditions of music, not when his words are disassociated from natural objects and specified meanings, but when they are liberated from the usual equality of that meaning by transportation into another medium, the imagination. They are mystified by certain instances. I asked him, "What do you do?" He smiled patiently, the typical American question. In Europe, they would ask, "What are you doing?" or "What are you doing now?" What do? I listen to the water falling. No sound of it here, but with the wind. This is my entire occupation. Hello, New Jersey, it said on the letter delivered without comment. So be it. Run from it, if you will. So be it. Winds that enshroud us in their folds, or no wind. So be it. Pull at the doors of a hot afternoon, doors that the wind holds or wrenches from our arms and hands. So be it. The library is a sanctuary to our fears. So be it. So be it. The wind that has tripped us, pressed upon us, prurient, or upon the prurience of our fears, laughter fading. So be it. Time does not move, only ignorance and stupidity move. Intelligence, force, power stand still with time and forces change about itself, a sift in the world for permanence and the drift of nonentity. Pop told me many times after that he had sent a wire forthwith to Jesse Payne, an old friend and neighbor of ours from Passaic Avenue, then resided in Los Angeles, asking what, if anything, had happened to Lou, his wife. 2 weeks later, he received a letter saying that Jesse was sorry not to have been able to answer the telegram sooner. The reason being that Lou and then ill. In fact, at the time the telegram had arrived, she was in the hospital where that day she had been given up for dead following a serious abdominal operation. Dear Mama, the reason I didn't right last Sunday was because I was out of town. My friend Pound invited me to spend Saturday and Sunday with him. His parents are very nice people and have always been exceptionally kind to me. Mrs. Pound had prepared a fine meal. After supper, Pound and I went to his room where we had a long talk on subjects that I loved, yet have not time to study, in which he is asking life of my work, that is literature, and the drama and the classics, also a little philosophy. He Pound is a fine fellow. He is the essence of optimism and has a cast iron faith. That is something to admire. If he ever does get blue, nobody knows it. So Wynn is just a man for me, but not one person in 1,000 likes him, and a great many people detest him. And why? Because he is so darn full of conceits and affectation. He is really a brilliant talker and thinker, but delights in making himself just exactly what he is, not a laughing bore. His friends must be all patience in order to find him out, and even then you must not let him know it, for he will immediately put on some artificial mood and be really unbearable. It is too bad, for he loves to be liked, yet there is some quality in him which makes him too proud to try to please people. I am sure his only fault is an exaggeration of a trait that in itself is good and in every way admirable. He is afraid of being taken in if he trusts his really tender heart to mercies of a cruel crowd, and so keeps it hidden and trusts no one. It lives as pictures only can, by their power to escape illusion and stand between man and nature as saints once stood between man and the sky. Stockings, shoes, hairpins, your bed I wrap myself round you. Your thighs are apple trees whose blossoms touch the sky. Which sky? The sky where? What to you? A lady's slipper. Your knees are a southern breeze or a gust of snow. What sort of a man was Fragonard? As if that answered anything. Yes, below the knee, since the time drops. That way it is. One of those white summer days, the tall grass of your ankles flickers upon the shore. Which shore of sand clings to my lips? Which shore? Petals, maybe. How should I know? Which shore? Which shore? I said petals from an apple tree. Observe the jasmine lightness of the moon, the descent beckons as the ascent beckoned. The man of imagination who turns to art for release and fulfillment of his baby promises contends with the sky through the layers of demoted words and shapes. It was too strong in the air. I had no rest against that springtime. The pounding of the hoofs on the raw sods stayed with me half through the night. I awoke smiling but tired, and so by your love, the very sun itself is revived. A rival, and yet one arrives somehow, finds himself loosening the hooks of her dress in a strange bedroom, feels the autumn dropping its silk and linen leaves about her ankles. The tawdry veined body emerges, twisted upon itself like a winter wind. To hell with you and your poetry. You will rot and be blown through the next solar system with the rest of the gases. But love is unworldly, and nothing comes of it but love and a church spire sketched on the sky, a sheet metal and open beams to resemble a church spire. Mother, who was known among her intimates as a medium, suddenly said, "My father," looking right at left at Ed and me. So these are the boys, how they have grown. Come here, my dears, she said to us, reaching out her hands, and let me see you. This to her own children, whom she had been caring for all day. Pop, who was accustomed to such occasions, told us gently, bewildered as we must have been to do as we were bid, to go to Mother, which we did, one on either side. She put her hands on each of our heads and patted us smiles with smiles of approval and love and affection. How well they look. I am so happy. And this Pop said to her, to his own wife, who is this we have the pleasure of talking to. Don't you know me? Mother answered, why, I'm Lou Payne, fifth, and Berman, though they shock over nice and our imperfections of the flesh, closely related, and just imagination of the poet to excessive cleanliness. The rock is split, the egg has hatched, the prismatically plumb bird of life has escaped from its cage. It spreads its wings and is perched now on the peak of the huge African mountain Kilimanjaro. Strange recompense in the depths of our despair, at the unfathomable mist into which all mankind is plunging. A curious force awakens. Is hope long asleep aroused once more? Wilson has taken an army of advisors and sailed for England. The ship has sunk, but the men are all good swimmers. They take the women on their shoulders and buoyed on by the inspiration of the moment. For this moment, they churn the free seas with their sinewy arms. Ulysses landing all along the European seaboard. Yes, hope has awakened once more in men's hearts. It is new. Let us go forward. The imagination, freed from handcuffs of art, takes the lead. Her feet are bare and not too delicate. In fact, those who come behind her have much to think of. Let it pass. The province of this poem is the world. When the sun rises, it rises in the poem, and when it sets, darkness comes down, and the poem is dark, and lamps are lit, cats prowl, and men read and spit or mumble and stare at that which their small lights distinguish or obscure, or their hands search out in the dark. The poem moves them, or it does not move them. Fat Tote, his ears ringing, no sound, no great city, as he seems to spit. I shall forever spit beautiful spoken poetry.